Hello everyone. How are you all doing? A 2025 film titled A Working Man is going to get your adrenaline pumping. The reason is, besides being packed with brutal, tension-filled scenes, this movie also stars Jason Statham, who of course never fails to deliver adrenaline-fueled action. So, rather than rambling on too much at the start, let's just get right into it. Set in New York City, this story will focus on a middle-aged man named Levon Cade. He is a project foreman leading a number of construction workers to build a large building. Levon is highly respected by all the workers because he has a good nature and never makes things difficult when any of his men want to borrow money or ask for an advance.
Bonus for you. A good day. Get it.
After finishing the briefing with his workers, Levon then heads to the vendor's office, the party funding the project, to submit a report. That man is Joe Garcia, the owner who finances this project. Not alone, Joe is assisted by his wife and his only daughter, named Jenny. Thanks to their togetherness, it's safe to say this business is a family enterprise that has been built with years of hard work and struggle.
No, Mom. Nobody's arguing that.
At that moment, two debt collectors show up intending to collect a debt from one of the workers there. That worker was even beaten up by the two debt collectors, so Levon, who witnessed it, couldn't just stand by and do nothing, and this is what he did next.
I'll go 5 minutes.
Not long after, the other debt collector colleagues arrived. However, Levon swiftly drew his firearm. Yes, whoever Levon truly was in his past, he showed not the slightest hint of hesitation or fear on his face, which ultimately made those debt collectors decide to leave the premises.
Vámonos. Vámonos. Yeah.
After his work was done, Levon then went to his father-in-law's house to visit his young daughter. It turns out that Levon had once lived a married life, but his marriage ended after his wife passed away. Because of that, his daughter, named Mary, is now entrusted to and living at her grandfather's residence.
I was waiting for you.
Let's go.
In short, night had fallen. Meanwhile, the story shifts to the boss's daughter, Jenny. At this moment, Jenny is at a nightclub having fun with her college friends. However, without her realizing it, there is a group of dangerous people around them who operate in a highly organized and cautious manner. They have set their sights on Jenny as a target to be sold into a human trafficking syndicate, so that very night, Jenny is immediately abducted. The next morning, just as Levon arrives at the worksite, he sees several police officers coming out of his boss's office. Apparently, Joe and his wife have already learned that their beloved daughter has gone missing. Feeling that the police cannot be relied upon, Joe and his wife ultimately ask for Levon's help to find Jenny as quickly as possible. It's not without reason that Joe asked Levon for help. As it turns out, Levon is a former Special Forces soldier who has been retired from the military for 5 years. And he's no ordinary soldier. Levon is known as one of the best operatives, frequently deployed to various battlefields. For that reason, Joe is willing to offer all his life savings as long as Levon agrees to search for Jenny's whereabouts.
We have another 20 for expenses.
Come on, just say it, man. I'm sorry.
After declining Joe's request, Levon then goes to a forest to meet one of his old friends, who is known to have chosen a reclusive life. That man is Gunny. Levon recounts everything that has happened to Jenny, including Joe's plea and how desperately he needs his help. The reason Levon turned down the request is that he does not want to become the person he used to be. The fact is, back when he was still on active duty, he was known to be extremely brutal in every mission and never showed mercy to anyone who stood as his enemy.
But you do. Gotta help them. You better go full on, no half measure.
After receiving advice and enlightenment from Ghani, Levon finally returns to see Joe to apologize for having previously rejected his request. This time, Levon decides to search for Jenny based on his own conscience, without asking Joe to pay a single cent.
I'm gonna bring her home. I promise.
Without wasting any time, Levon immediately sets out to begin his investigation. His first target is a bartender who displays suspicious behavior and is strongly suspected of being involved in the abduction. By attaching a tracking device to the bartender's car, Levon is able to immediately pinpoint the location of his private residence. Without asking permission, he promptly heads over to that place.
You wins.
While Levon is interrogating the bartender, two men suddenly appear and enter the house. So Levon quickly grabs the bartender. And this is what happens next. After the bartender along with his two associates are dead, Levon realizes that they were members of a Russian gangster syndicate, which is indeed notorious for being involved in various serious crimes. Since he doesn't get any leads from the bartender, Levon eventually decides to stake out the house, hoping that someone will show up. Sure enough, the next morning a pair of twin brothers wearing flashy outfits arrive, along with a man named Wolo. They come to call in a cleanup crew to take care of the mess left behind there. When the twins and Wolo leave, Levon secretly follows their car from behind until they finally arrive at a luxurious mansion on the outskirts of town, which turns out to be Wolo's residence. Armed with the military gear he brought along, Levon then monitors Wolo from a distance. As it turns out, Wolo is a man and a husband who is extremely abusive, even not hesitating to use violence against his own wife. Not long after the wife leaves, Levon without hesitation enters the house and confronts Wolo directly. Eventually, Wolo is now tied to a chair placed at the edge of the swimming pool. At first, Wolo assumes that Levon is a hired hand sent by his business rival. However, when Levon shows him a photo of Jenny, that's when Wolo realizes that the man standing before him is no ordinary person to be trifled with.
Dimi. Sukin Sun. Dimi. Come here, down.
Because he doesn't understand the Russian words spoken by Wolo, Levon firmly states that he will never stop until he succeeds in bringing Jenny back home. If Wolo still refuses to give him any information, then this is the consequence he must face.
I'm gonna bring her home.
Who are you? What are you?
After finishing off Wolo by drowning him, Levon then translates the Russian phrases that the man had uttered earlier. From that, he learns that Wolo had mentioned one name, Dimi, who most likely knows Jenny's whereabouts.
Who are you, Dimi?
After Wolo's body is discovered, the twin brothers who were his underlings welcome the arrival of someone who holds a higher position within the mafia circle. That man is named Simon. He is no ordinary figure. He is Wolo's close friend in the mafia family and is even considered like a brother. Knowing that Wolo has been killed, Simon certainly won't sit idly by and immediately deploys all his men to hunt down whoever is responsible for the death.
Find this man and bring him to me.
Meanwhile, Levon is contacting his friend who works in the police department. He asks for any and all information regarding Wolo and his mafia group, including the figure named Dimi, who turns out to be Wolo's own biological son. Levon is then advised to visit a bar known as a hub for drug trafficking in order to gather further information.
They sell meth for the Russians.
Maybe you should get a beer there.
Nice one. Thanks.
Upon arriving at the bar in question, Levon immediately becomes the center of attention for the security personnel. When one of them is sent over to approach him, Levon promptly flashes a wad of cash, claiming he wants to buy some illicit goods. Without suspicion, the man leads him to a private room where the bar owner is located.
The talk to man.
That man is named Dutch, the bar owner and a drug dealer operating in that area. Because Levon is a stranger deemed suspicious, Dutch immediately orders 10 of his men to gang up on Levon.
Enough!
However, after realizing that Levon is no ordinary man, Dutch eventually shows him respect and is willing to receive his presence. In front of Dutch, Levon openly states his desire to buy a large quantity of illicit goods. In reality, this is merely a ploy so he can get in touch with someone of higher rank. After being given a special phone for communication and 1 bag of illicit goods as an initial sample, Levon simply tosses it away. Of course, Levon's goal is not the goods themselves. For a moment, let's leave Levon and shift our attention to Jenny, who is still being held captive somewhere. This is where we are introduced to 2 people running the human trafficking business, Artemis and her lover, Ivan. The 2 of them are a couple who are equally cruel and devoid of mercy. As it happens, there is a businessman who wants to try out some new merchandise. Because of that, Artemis and Ivan immediately bring Jenny inside a black suitcase.
Guess who's gonna be princess for a night?
However, when the suitcase is opened, the businessman screams in pain because Jenny bites him until he bleeds. As a result of that incident, Artemis and Ivan end up taking Jenny back to their hideout. Meanwhile, the story shifts back to Levon, who is now continuing his investigation. To be granted a face-to-face meeting with the big boss, the actual kingpin, Levon is asked to wear a neat suit because the person he will be meeting is an important figure with a very high standing.
I don't have a suit.
Shit, you will tomorrow.
Although he feels somewhat uncomfortable, Levon is still willing to wear the suit in order to meet with the big boss. Upon arriving at the location, several armed guards can be seen standing watch with extreme vigilance. From that alone, it's already clear that the person Levon is about to meet is no ordinary individual. After going through a security check and being asked to hand over his phone, Levon is finally permitted to meet the big boss, who has long hair. And guess who that person is? Yes, it's Dimi, the very man Levon has been searching for, and also Wolo's biological son.
My name is Dimi.
After reviewing all of Levon's records and life history, Dimi eventually begins to trust him and is willing to supply goods in large quantities. However, since Dimi is not someone who can be easily reached and requires time and a well-thought-out plan to get close to him, Levon decides to look for other leads in order to find Jenny's whereabouts. Armed with a video recording taken from the bartender's phone, Levon finally manages to obtain one clue, the face of a man named Ivan. Without wasting any time, he heads straight to the bar where Ivan is known to hang out, looking for him. Upon arriving at the bar, Levon, who has already hacked the network operator's communication system, immediately realizes that he is being hunted. Because of that, he quickly snatches a motorcycle, and a high-speed chase becomes unavoidable. Unfortunately, 2 patrol officers who happen to be on duty are actually in cahoots with the mafia group. As a result, Levon is successfully captured by the twins and handed over to Simon. However, if the twins think they have successfully caught Levon and consider themselves tough, they are gravely mistaken. With their flashy outfits, none of that is enough to save them from Levon's wrath. Eventually, after Levon finishes off the twins, both of their bodies are brought straight before Simon. Seeing what Levon has done, Simon's rage reaches its peak. He immediately goes to meet his associates, the higher-ups in the mafia circle, to request the help of 2 professional hitmen.
That will help you.
The first place Simon visits is one of Dimi's nightclubs, which is instantly sprayed with a hail of bullets by one of the hired assassins. Simon is absolutely furious with Demi, holding him responsible for his father's death, including the deaths of the twins, who had always been under his charge. Because he already considers Demi like his own son, Simon shows him Levon's face while also warning him that this is the man who is searching for Demi and will never stop until he gets what he came for. Since they consider Demi incompetent at handling the problem, the two hitmen immediately go to see a hacker to dig up Levon's identity, until they finally manage to obtain the address of his father-in-law's house. Not long after his daughter had just come home from school, the house was already engulfed in flames. Fortunately, the grandfather was still able to be rescued. Realizing that his family is now being dragged into this, Levon takes his father-in-law and his daughter to Gani's residence to be left in his care, while also asking for a little help in the form of firearms to carry out one final operation to put an end to all of this.
Can I come?
Love you.
At the same time, elsewhere Jenny is being taken by Artemis and Ivan into the middle of the forest to be executed. Along the way, Jenny resists, causing their car to crash. Seizing the opportunity, Jenny quickly runs into the woods and manages to free the bindings on her hands. Jenny then manages to reach the main road and encounters two police officers on patrol. Unfortunately for Jenny, these two officers turn out to be in the same conspiracy with their group.
Miss me?
Just as Jenny is about to be executed, a phone call suddenly comes in from the businessman who wants to meet her again. Because of that, Artemis and Ivan call off their plan and decide to deliver Jenny to the businessman's place.
Dirty and...
Meanwhile, the story shifts back to Demi's nightclub, which is being guarded by several armed men. They have no idea that Levon has already arrived at the location and will not hesitate to take out anyone who stands in his way.
Figured that.
After all the guards are dead, Levon approaches Demi, who is now defenseless. Levon demands that Demi show him where Jenny is, and in return his life will be spared. Of course, Demi has no other choice but to comply with the request.
It's south on 57.
Let's go.
Upon arriving at the location where Jenny is being held, Levon orders Demi to get out of the car. Demi keeps wondering why Levon is willing to go this far to save a girl who isn't even related to him by blood. And guess what Levon's answer is?
You have a daughter?
No.
Then you won't understand.
After Demi is killed at Levon's hands, Simon's forces only then receive word that Levon has massacred more than half a dozen of Demi's men. At that moment, Simon realizes that he himself will be the next target. Not long after, Simon and his forces immediately prepare to head to the location where Jenny is being held captive in order to hunt down Levon first. However, as usual, Levon once again manages to take out over a dozen of Artemis and Ivan's men who are standing guard, right at the moment Jenny is about to be handed over to the businessman. At the same time, Simon and his troops also arrive at the scene, making the situation even more chaotic. And this is what happens next. After all the henchmen have been dealt with, it's now time for Levon to face the large-built man who is also a former soldier. With a shaved head, muscular physique, and immense physical strength, this man is certainly no ordinary opponent. However, all of that still proves insufficient against someone as tough as Levon. After there's no one left standing in his way, Levon heads straight to the room where Jenny is being held. There, the arrogant businessman still confidently tries to put up a fight without showing the slightest hint of fear.
Come in here.
Eventually, while Levon is chasing after Ivan, Jenny manages to be rescued. However, the tension apparently isn't truly over yet, as 2 more hitmen sent by Simon have just arrived. Unlike the previous opponents, these 2 assassins are truly brutal and relentlessly unleash gunfire in every direction. Even so, Levon already has his own way of dealing with them. After the 2 hitmen are successfully taken down, the nightmare finally comes to an end. Levon then immediately takes Jenny back home to her parents. Meanwhile, Simon simply cannot accept the fact that his entire family, associates, and troops have been wiped out. However, instead of receiving help from the head of the mafia syndicate, Simon is instead met with disappointment when the boss tells him to put an end to all of this. He is fully aware that a man like Levon is someone extremely formidable, fiercely determined, and will never stop until he achieves his goal. Thanks to Levon's efforts, Jenny is finally able to reunite with her parents. After all matters are settled, Levon goes to Gani's house to make sure his daughter is safe and sound. That concludes this movie recap. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.